Hey guys, how's it going? So I haven't really made a video on my fish room update, so this is kind of going to do a walkthrough of all my tanks. First of all, we're not quite all done with the tanks. We're going to be putting these together. They're getting painted and sorted, and all these are going to go into the room still. And I bought all the 2x4s. So let's go inside and take a look. So we'll walk in. Okay, so we'll start with this rack here. So this is my new rack here. I've gotten rid of most of the 10s. And so I got a 10 here, a 20 long, 10, 10, 20 long. So I'm gonna kind of go through each tank and what they're gonna be used for. So this is a fish that I actually, when I started in the hobby, about 25, 30 years ago, this was one of my first fish I had. It's the Leopard Frogs similis, one of my favorites, shell dweller. So I'm going to kind of talk about the tanks and their purpose and the value of the tank. So these fish here breed pretty easily. So I call this rack kind of my autopilot rack. So it just makes money, and these fish breed as long as I feed them well and give them good water changes. So there's 7 in here, and these were actually gifted to me by a friend that he had a ton of them, so he gave me a bunch of them. Now I've seen them as high as $45 each in fish stores. I know that's outrageous, but wholesale I could probably go get about, I don't know, $5-6 each, and they breed pretty easily. So this is one of those fish that's kind of an autopilot, and this whole rack right here is kind of meant for that. But it also acts as a quarantine rack also, because it's away from most of my other fish, and if something does spread to these tanks, it's devastating, but it's not you know, ending as far as monetary. So okay, so this is a quarantine tank. Now this is one of my angelfish that I pulled because I thought it was a female, but it actually turned out to be a male, and I picked for color, so I thought that she was going to, so this one will actually probably go to the store. Because I have another male that's a little more striking and better size than him. So he's kind of just holding this tank as far as the biological and doing his thing. Okay? So the next one, the coral, dwarf coral platy. So this one's a good one because I started with 2 fish, and I've probably sold about 100 fish out of here at about $2 a pop. So last year, this tank probably produced about $200. Now this year I hope to make probably $400 to $500 on it. The key to it is as it gets to a certain stocking level, you have to pull the fish so they'll keep breeding. So you want to kind of just watch them. Right now they're getting close, but this is probably my 4th batch from the 2 original, or I think maybe it was 3 original. I think I bought a male and 2 females. So this is a money producer, great fish. Obviously color is big when you're breeding fish. So red is actually one of the most popular selling colors, but also this is an easy fish for beginners. So these are the tanks that actually make money, and I call them my food tanks because the money I get from them I put right back into buying food usually, or I'll even do a trade with stores for food because I know I can get a better deal on the food if I trade these in. But I have probably made about a couple $100 on these things in a year. So they were tucked under, and so I didn't really show them. But I feel they deserve a better spot in my room because they do produce money. Okay, so the next one is the black ram. So I've gotten probably about I would say 60 to 70 of these. These are my last pair. They are not laying eggs right now, but the thing is I'm not watching them real close. And I've tried to let them kind of raise the eggs on their own. They have gotten to 10 days and then they ate the fry. So my next hatch, I'm probably going to let them try to hatch them themselves, and then within 3 or 4 days pull the fry out after they hatch. So this is something that I had to do because I just wanted to see if I could do it, because I bred all the ram species, and somebody told me that they were almost impossible. They were a little tougher, and definitely took a lot of time. And now the price is coming down a little bit, so I don't know if they're worth breeding anymore. I might, just because I kind of enjoy it as just a visual. I like that black ram. And actually my brother-in-law put them in his community tank with white sand, and they pop pretty good where you don't get lost in there. So I don't know, I'm debating on this tank. So these are the last two. I've had probably 1,000 rams through my room. I enjoyed them, but it's something that I'm kind of moving away from, and I'm just going to kind of see if these guys are something that I'm going to specialize in. I'm not quite sure yet, but I'm holding them. Now, if a male or female dies, then I'd probably end up just calling it a day on them. So, but cool fish. Okay, so down here is my guppy mutt tank. So I would say in the last year I've probably pulled about $1,000 of fish out of. So these were in my 100-gallon pond. This is what I pulled out. Now you might say some of them are bland, but I know that some of these females have good genes as far as fish. Now what I've done with these guppies is I've kind of let them, I don't want to say just die, but I haven't treated real heavy. They got ick twice because I was bringing fish in, and there's kind of, so they've gotten ick twice, and so there was a couple die-off sessions, but with salt and heat, they actually got rid of that ick without any medications. So I just treated this tank for levamisole, just to make sure there was no calamanus worms or anything like that, and everything looks really good. Now with that medication treatment, I did lose about 4 or 5 of some colorful fish, but to me that's okay because I'm trying to get a hardy guppy. And my goal is not to make such a derpy guppy, but a hardy, sleek guppy, because I like them to be in my community tanks and you know, compete with regular fish. Because you get a fish that's kind of slow and they just get picked on. So just trying to create a hardy guppy. This is about a 2-year project, and this is what I've came up with as far as selling. Let disease get in there, and then them living, and then I don't treat the water, so just regular tap water. My tap water averages about 280 to 3 and about 8.4 to 8.5. The tank settles about an 8, so a little high on the pH, but so just a project I've been working on personally. And when I sell the fish, I don't sell them for anything but what they are, and I usually get about $1 a fish at full grown, and that's fine with me. So another fish that I use for food, to buy food with. Okay, and then this was an experiment that I tried. I was going for Infusoria, but it kind of just got away from me. So it's just a tank now that's full, and it's very dark acidic. You see that? So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this tank, but it probably just becomes a good quarantine tank. So I like the 10 gallons for quarantine tanks because easy to medicate and not expensive. I've even medicated large discus in a 10-gallon by itself. So, all right. And then this tank, you'll notice the water is at half level, and this is my big male that I'll keep going. He stopped eating, so I'm not medicating yet. I'm just kind of watching him because I moved a bunch of fish on the weekend. So it could have been the stress and move, but I doubt it with angelfish. So I'm kind of just watching him. But nothing's kind of came out of him that's strange or anything, so I'm just kind of watching. And then these are some Pleco that I found now. I was going to breed the Pleco and move forward on those, but I think I'm going to kind of take it easy on that because I'm going to go in more into the Bozeman. I'll talk about that. And then somewhere in here is my big female Pleco that I could sell and probably get $4 or $5 for, but she is actually one of the first fish I had in my new fish room that helped me start the fish room. So I'm just kind of letting her hang out, and she's going to live her life here. She gets moved tank to tank. She's very hardy, very good eater. So she's just a normal bristle-nosed female, but big. So I like her, and she kind of just, so nostalgic reasons. Okay. So this tank, oh, and also I'm building lids for it. So I didn't want, the lids I have, I just threw them on top again, but they were off, so I had no lids on it. So that's another reason I've dropped this tank down. Thinking about medicating, but I'm just watching him for the next couple days. Alright, so down here is another holding tank. So this will be actually a discus fry grow out tank. So that's one thing, if you're going to breed discus, you have to have tanks to grow out. But right now there's in here, yeah, I'll never be able to see them. So there's a male and female albino, a female albino crebensis and a male regular crebensis, and they are actually on fry. So, and it's very rare for the male to be able to stay in the cave with fry. Let me see if I can get a flashlight so I can see it in here. So they like it dark in their cave. So you see in the back is there's the male, and then in the back there's the female, and she's on fry. Not many, but that's our first attempt. So the female came in with one eye, and I had probably 6 or 7 of them. And crebensis is something that I really are excited about because I've bred a ton of them. So just a little project, and basically what they're doing is they're just holding this tank until the discus fry come. Okay. So in here are, because I had no more females, so I pulled 3 of the 100 or so angelfish I had. Now, out of the 3 I picked, I went with my best guess at their sizes, but it looks like I got 2 males. Those are 2 males. And then it looks like I got 1 female. She's tucked back here. So I'll probably pull that female and then sell these 2 off. Okay? And so down here are crebensis that are, so I had about 50 crebensis, and they basically saturated my market. So these guys are just holding these tanks, keeping them cycled. There's one here, and then you'll see his head popped out under that little cone right there. I'll drop back. So he's back there, and then the little, so 2 females, and they're kind of just hanging out. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them. I can't give them away right now because there's so many in our local market. So they're kind of just hanging out, and they get fed every day and a water change, you know, once a week or once every other week, depending. It's pretty light load. So, okay. So these guys are my Bozeman fry. So if you look real close, there's about 60 of them in there. They're about 3 weeks old and doing well. So very easy to breed the rainbow fish. The hard part is getting them to grow, but once I get them to the baby brine shrimp, pretty simple. So I do it a little different. A lot of people breed them in these fry trays and everything. I don't. I put them in a 10 or a 20 gallon, and then what I do is I just create a balance. So what I do is I put a heavy air stone in there. I put the mop in, so I put the mop in by the air stone. I put some floating plants in, some valve, and then what I do is I put a Pleco, which you'll never see. It's a clown Pleco, and so people ask me, isn't that counterintuitive? You're putting a clown Pleco in a fry tank, isn't that going to pollute it? So the key is balance. You know, you got the biological filter, and what happens is it's not the mold or the poop that causes the issues, it's the uneaten food. So by doing this system, I can crank out rainbow fish all day long, and other types of fish too. So it's kind of, think of it as a cycle. You put a ton of food in to feed those fry because you want them eating, and their first foods are usually dry foods or vinegar eels. Okay, so the Pleco is not there to cause issues, it's actually there to help to eat the extra food, because that's what's going to cause the issues and kill the fry, is the excess food. So it's kind of just a perfect cycle, and then the plants eat the nitrates, so the nitrates aren't climbing. Okay, so just something I do a little different than most people, and it works for me. So there's 60 in there right now, and I just pulled 2 more mops, and hopefully there'll be about 50 more, because I like to breed them about in 100. But also another, you know, the thing with rainbow fish is they take a long time to grow out. Okay? So here we go. We have the L333s that are caving up. Let's see if I can find a couple. Here we go. And no, nothing yet, so they might still be a little young. It looks like I got 6 males and 3 females. So all the males are caved up. There's some more. So we'll see about those. Those are cool. But they're pretty easily bred now, so not really really high demand as far as monetary. So we'll test those out, and then what I'll end up probably doing is after I find a pair is I'll probably sell off and just keep a pair in a 20 or something. Because this tank right here will be a Discus fry grow out tank. So these 50s I like a lot. Okay, so what I did here is, and this guy just keeps going. So he's one of the ribbons that I found in a tank. Out of 10 spawns, I got 1 fish. They just would not take care of the fry, and I'm not into artificially raising Discus. So, but these guys all are the smallers Discus in my room. So I kind of put them together, and what was happening was they were getting their butts kicked by the older ones. So by having their own tank now, they've kind of set their dominance levels, and that is good because now it's nice and peaceful. But this guy gets his meals now. He gets to eat, so I feed him tiny food. Okay. All right. So these guys I moved to a 90 dark. Now these are my orange brown base, and you'll say, why would you take pigeon bloods to a dark tank? Aren't they going to show peppering? Yes, that's the point. I want to know, like this guy right here, that is some pretty bad peppering. So what I might do with him is, because he's got great color, I'm not sure yet. So I don't know if I want to breed him because of that peppering. But some beginners like the peppering, I don't know. But because of his color, the redness, I'm not sure. But now I know that he's going to show that peppering. Or if you see my strains of the red covers, hardly any peppering, right? And that is generation after generation, picking the best fish without the peppering and breeding those. So these guys are in here to kind of test, and then I want to breed a little bit of this blue into it. Because I like the domestics, but I want to, so these guys have a little bit of wild in them. And so I want to kind of get that wild into my fish. That's just something personal that I'll do. And the thing is when I sell them, I will sell them as what they are. I will not try to deceive anybody, because that just hurts your reputation as a breeder. As long as you're telling people what you're doing, it's usually okay. Okay, so this is my catfish overflow. I have the Bozemanite second generation in here. I have my Sturbies, Corys. So it's kind of a Cory catfish tank. I have my extra betta in there. He kind of hangs out up here and just does his own thing. So I have a ton of different Corys. I have the Adolphi, I have the Sturby, I have, let's see, the skunk, and then a ton of Plecos. I have all ancistrus. It's the green dragon, which is probably one of my better green dragons right there. The common, and I have the lemon blue eye, and then I have the albino, and also the super red. Now, I'm not going to pull any fry out of here. It is what it is, so it's kind of just a mishmash right now, just a holding tank to find out what I want to do, because I don't want to give something away and then have to go find it. So it's kind of right now, it's just kind of holding catfish to see what's going on. Okay. So in here I have my 134s, the Leopard Frogs. So if you look in here, the males are starting to cape up. I still think they're a little young, so I don't think they're ready. And I think I have 4 females and 5 males, so pretty good. There's one right there. So I can kind of tuck back. So those are tough to see, but those are really cool. So those are just a kind of a wait and see thing. I'm not in no hurry to get those. And then in here I have the Alacour Tiger, which is 397, and they're still very young. So a good year probably till they're even ready to start, even thinking about breeding. So they're in a grow out situation, but they're in there by themselves now. Okay. And then up here I have the Synodontis petricola. These guys are getting close. I'm actually a little surprised they haven't bred yet. They're going on about 3 years old. But I've had catfish take that long, so it doesn't surprise me or concern me at all. I just know the females are getting nice and fat. I can't really see them right now because they're tucked away. So I kind of disturbed this tank because I pulled all the Bozemanite out of here. And then here I have the Lucipennis, Synodontis lucipennis. And of course I can't find them either, so, but, oh, there's one. So pretty similar. You can tell I like the Synodontis petricolas. Come on, where are you? There's the guy's little head. Alright, let's not waste our time there. Okay, so this is kind of just a mishmash of Plecos I've pulled. And actually, I couldn't believe it, I saw a stir-by in here the other day. Oh, there he is right there. So a little stir-by Cory that just showed up out of nowhere. He must have been tucked in some moss as an egg or something, hatched in here. So pretty cool. So I know I got some females of the stir-by, which is cool. And then unfortunately here, my wild male came in one day and I think he just gave up. He had just done the best he can. He was still eating right and everything, but I came in and he just was on his side and unfortunately passed away. I didn't know the age, I didn't know the history, I didn't know anything. So this tank right now is just, because I think it was an age thing. So I have salt in here and then I'll just leave it alone for 2 weeks just to be sure that nothing else is going to transfer. Okay, so here are my original Bozeman eyes. They just got moved this morning, so he has lost all his color, but he usually turns solid black in the front. But that's okay, I'm just going to let them hang out here. And so what's nice is, you know, I have about 100 of the fry coming, and so they'll kind of stay in my room and just hang out. Okay. So let's see, we go into the Farwalla, the whiptails. So thought I was doing really well with these guys, and then I had another one die the other day. So they kind of, you see the difference, how they get dark? That's usually a good sign. And then they turn light. So this guy he's on the fence. I mean, he's still got a little bit dark in him, but you can see the patterns when they're really healthy. They all came in with sunken bellies, so I would imagine they were infested with parasites. But I put them through all their treatments, and so now it's kind of just a wait and see thing. Let's see what happens. They all eat real well, so we'll see. And they eat baby brine shrimp like crazy and dried food. So we'll see. Okay. So these guys are my red and blue. Let's get over here. My red and blue breeders. So I've kind of separated them out, and these guys are all about 11 months. So within the next 2 or 3 months, they'll start pairing up. So what I've done is, I love this 90 long. So I put a cone, because they hang out here because this is where I feed them, and that's on purpose. And then I put the cone back here. So when a pair pairs up, they're going to guard that cone and push everybody else back to the feeding area, right? And then once they start coning up, then I'll feed the pair back there, and then I'll put them in their own tank. All right? So these guys are looking good. Everybody's really good, really healthy, really solid. All good genes. This is my own little strain I've created here. This is a blue, and then this guy came in right here, so he's got good size. So they're probably 2 to 3 months out from breeding, but I want them to start pairing up now, and so I try to keep those colors that I want, that I'm encouraging to breed, to stay together. All right. So the next rack is, I'm not sure if I'm going to build the breeding rack, because I know I'm still a couple of months out, and I can use these 20s if I need to breed in, but I like the 29s better. And then I'll build an 8 tank rack here, and then I'll build my 50 and then my 20s here. So it's just going to be a question of time, how much time I got, and what's the best usage of my time, as far as, you know, I don't really need extra tanks right now, but I am going to need breeding tanks, so I might switch it up and go back to the breeding. So one thing that I did do is, you'll see my air pump back here, and because I was adding extra tanks, I was fighting for air. So I actually went and added a second pump. So you can see here, I have a second pump here. So I did it on the opposite side of the room. Now I was gonna put it right here next to it, but I was having problems with the electrical, so I would have had to plug into this down here. And I'm gonna need that for other stuff. So I just ran the hose, and I already had the shelf, so I tried to just use what I got, and then I just plugged it into here. So another thing I did is, and you'll notice on my racks, is I actually lifted this 20, which these coral platies were down here, and they were just kind of forgot about. Now they were taken care of, but it's hard to clean a tank on the concrete. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a shelf here, and then get some containers, and then fill this up with equipment and stuff. And also under here, so I haven't done these yet, so I'm going to build some shelving under here, and then get some custom fit boxes and stuff, kind of like these here. So you can get them any size that you want. And then also under this rack there will be room for that, and then under this rack there'll be room for that. So this one I'm not sure about though. Oh, lights are going out. Alrighty you guys, so that was just a quick tour. I'm working tonight, so I got to do water changes, so I wanted to get this video done and get it edited and out by Friday night, but yeah, I'll be working probably till midnight tonight. So I got to get water changes done in here, and I just kind of wanted to make this video and kind of tell you what's going on, and that's about it. Thank you everybody, take care, have a great day, bye.